So now we go to a final thing, and we mentioned about the fact that at the moment in the UK charts, We Don't Talk About Bruno is number one. And weirdly enough, this is the first song ever from a Disney film that has been number one in the charts. I was shocked to find that. I was thinking, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Just Can't Wait to Be King, A Whole New World,
Let It Be?
Under the
Not,
Sea.
Let It Go. Let It Go.
Yeah,
Sorry.
let it go. Let It Go was not number one. No, Let It Go did not go to number one. And We Don't Talk About Bruno is the first song from a Disney film to get to number one. And
I don't know that I know it.
Yeah, well, you won't know it, but apparently if you hang around any young kids, they've latched onto this thing like limpets. And this is from the film Encanto, which was released just before Christmas. It was in cinemas for a short while, and then it was doing that weird thing that's happening a lot more, where you have a film in cinemas and on TV at the same time. So even though it was still in cinemas, you start getting Encanto on Disney Plus. And so I watched this, and a little bit about, and I have to say first and foremost, when I watched the film, I thought We Don't Talk About Bruno is the most singable song. It's the song but I didn't think it was anything to write home about. And then all of a sudden, everybody started singing the song and listening to it online, and now the song is number one in the charts. There's four songs from Encanto in the top 20. I mean, the fact that they're written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote Hamilton, might have something to do with that. Even though I don't think it's his best work, songwriting wise, but I do think We Don't Talk About Bruno is the most singable song out of all them. But the storyline of Encanto, and I think my review of the song We Don't Talk About Bruno is pretty much how I feel about the film, where I think it's probably not the best work, but the whole thing about the film is that there's this family is somewhere in hills in Colombia, and they all have powers. So they have this house that they call the family madrigal, and they have this a house that was gifted to them by some sort of magical means, and every member of the family has some sort of superpower. So you have one of the girls, Luisa. She's like really, really strong. One of them can make plants grow. One of them can hear things from across the room. One of them can talk to animals. One of them can control the weather. And essentially think X-Men. Think X-Men and think the X Mansion. It's kind of like an X-Men mansion but in the hills of Colombia. But there is one daughter who is the one who introduces you to everyone, called Mirabel, who doesn't have any powers. And nobody knows why she doesn't have any powers, because they do this whole thing where it's the way they do it. It's kind of like this whole big festival where the whole town comes together, because a town has sort of formed around this family, because they come there because the family can protect them and the family can give them all these different things through their powers. And they have this whole thing where it's like a quinceanera or something like that, where everybody sort of gets around and they're like, oh my God, yeah, what power are you gonna get? What power are you gonna get? And when that happened with Mirabel, she didn't get a power. And so throughout her life, she's now she's now a teenager, and it's all about, there's the next time when someone's going to get a power, what's going to happen. And we start realizing that the magic that the Madrigal family has and that they used to help people around them is beginning to fade. And it becomes this almost adventure / mystery quest from her point of view, trying to figure out why the magic fades, because she's the only one in the family who is not defined by what the magic has given them, because the magic didn't give her anything. So all the other members of the family, that the house is falling apart because the house is held about by magic. The strongest daughter, Louisa, who helps the neighbors by taking donkeys out of the river, and she's at one point she's walking along with 5 donkeys on her back and all that kind of stuff. She's beginning to lose the thing. I can't even pull a piano from one room into the other, and it's all about. So it becomes this sort of treatise on whether this family, are they more than their powers? It's like, if they have these abilities, are they more than their abilities or anything like that? And I thought it was all right. I thought Encanto was all right. I quite liked it. And I think Disney are doing something where recently with their films, they're trying to go away from the usual cliche, from we have a princess and we have a prince who saves her and they all get married at the end and all that. And they're trying to go for some sort of stories that are probably a bit more now, a bit more today. So it's not about a woman being saved by a prince, but it's more about finding out what's inside of you. And the same way with Frozen, it was all about, save yourself. And there is that message within it. As it goes towards the end of the film, I feel like it loses it a bit, because there are things that happen that I don't think are well explained. Like, why does that happen? Why does that fix things? Why does that make things worse? Why would you do that to that character? And there's all these that I don't think make particular sense. And I feel like Disney are essentially coasting on the fact that it's Disney. People let it go. If you pardon the pun. It's kind of like, it's like, and so I would give Encanto a 3 out of 5 stars. I do like the fact that it's a different world, so to say. I love the fact that it's that what you're looking at is not same old. That this is actually I like the fact that what you're looking at is a new area that you haven't really seen in Disney films. You're looking at a new culture that you've been. It reminded me a little in some areas of Coco, the Pixar movie Coco, which I think is brilliant. Well, I think Coco is absolutely amazing. And so it reminded me of that in some areas, but all in all, I think it's just one of those things. Disney know what they're doing, and they figured out a way to sort of get into people's minds to make this thing bigger than the sum of its parts. To make I think the cultural phenomenon of Encanto is going to be a bigger deal than the film of Encanto itself. So I'll give Encanto 3 out of 5. Although I will say one thing about Disney that they're doing that I am not too happy about. So Encanto got released in cinemas and all that, and they've done this whole thing where they have. It seems as if they've stopped releasing Pixar movies because obviously Disney owns Pixar, even though it's a different studio. They stopped releasing Pixar movies in cinemas. They only release Pixar movies on Disney Plus, but they release the Disney animated films in cinemas. And because there's a film called Turning Red that's about a girl of, I believe from the trailers and everything, she's of Chinese origin. It's the first Pixar movie that's been directed by a woman and directed by a Chinese woman and it's all about this girl, and whenever she experiences heightened emotion, she turns into Red Panda. And this film, as I've been expecting this one for years, and it had a cinema release date, and then Disney pulled it back and said, "Oh no, it's not going to be in cinemas anymore. This Pixar movie is going to be on Disney Plus." And I'm like, to be honest, I was looking forward to this film a lot more than Encanto. Why are you pushing that? So you're pushing the Disney animated stuff into cinemas, and you're taking all the Pixar stuff and putting it on Disney Plus, and I just don't like it. I don't like it. There's something going on there. There's probably some algorithm. There's probably some business thing. With Disney, it's going to come down to money. That's the reason why they've done it. But it makes me feel uncomfortable. But anyway, 3 stars for Encanto. That's where I will add 3 stars for Encanto.